And all reports from the war fronts of the world indicate a growing favorable tide for the United Nations allies. But we're warned against the dangers of inflation, not in dollars and cents, but inflation of morale, over-optimism resulting in a slackening off of the war effort here at home. As each day more fighting men swell the ranks of our advancing fronts, so must the production fronts here at home be reinforced. These reinforcements must be women in increasing numbers. From their homes and peacetime jobs, the women of America must enlist to help win this war of production. It's no longer true that war is only a man's job. There's an important job that you women can and must do. Build the weapons for your fighting men. Here in the Niagara frontier, it means turning out more fighter airplanes like the Airacobra at the Bell aircraft factories. On all fronts, these airplanes have been overwhelming Axis forces in the air and on the ground. But for final victory, we must have more such airplanes. And now it's up to you women to build them. We need women to win the fight.
Thank you. I read in the newspaper and heard over the radio that you have jobs for women to help build airplanes.
Yes, that's right. I'm glad you came in to see us.
Well, I don't know very much about how airplanes are built. I'd imagine the work to be pretty technical. Are there many jobs that women can do?
Yes, there are a great many jobs. All of them important that women are doing today in aircraft production. You'd be surprised. I am a little myself. There are thousands of women all over the country doing work they never dreamed of, and doing it well. At the time of Pearl Harbor, all of our employees were men. Now, more than 50% are women, and that number is bound to increase as more men are called to join the ranks of our armed forces. Women today at Bell Aircraft are doing every sort of job. In the machine shop, they operate turret lathes, turning out bushings and fittings of all sorts for various parts of the airplane. They operate index milling machines, vertical milling machines to make fittings for the wings, horizontal millers to trim down castings for the landing gear spindle housings. It's all very careful, precision work, requiring skill which these women have developed over a short period of time. There are many sections of the airplane that have to be welded. Women have proved to be very good at this kind of work.
But how would I be able to do any of these jobs? I haven't worked for many years. That was before I was married, and then I did office work.
We realize that most of the women coming in here have had no experience along these lines. In fact, in most cases, it's pretty far removed from anything they've ever done before. And so all new employees taking production jobs here at Bell spend the first few days attending school, where they learn about the theory of their jobs. The classes are divided up according to the nature of the work, whether machine shop, fabrication, or whatever. They learn about types of aircraft tools, aircraft nomenclature, so you'll know the language, and safety rules, and plant policies. The next few days are spent in the plant, working in special areas under the supervision of instructors. Here you get practice on your particular job, and during the training period you'll receive your regular starting pay.
Well, it sounds all right. But I feel pretty dumb about this sort of thing. About the only thing I can operate is a can opener or a sewing machine. And these jobs you mentioned are men's jobs. Can women really do them well?
Yes, very well. In fact, some of the jobs we find are being done better now by women than were being done before by men. It's true you would be doing what normally is a man's job. But we do realize there are certain things that women cannot do, and allowances are made for this in the arrangement of the work. For instance, we do not expect women to lift heavy parts or exert themselves beyond their normal physical capacities. And even though they're doing a man's job, They are still the Mrs. Americas who have come out of their kitchens to help win this war.
Well, the whole idea is new to me, but if other women can do it, I guess there's no reason why I can't.
Women are paid the same starting base rate as for men. Increases are given on the basis of merit, better work, and increased responsibility. On an hourly basis, you receive straight time for 40 hours. And since we work a 48-hour week, the sixth day is paid at time and a half. So for everything over 8 hours in one day or anything over 40 hours in 1 week, you'll receive time and a half.
I understand that the plant is working 24 hours a day.
Yes, there are 3 shifts: the day shift, the evening, and the early morning. People who are on the last shift work 6.5 hours, but they get paid for 8.
I've been hearing quite a bit about your victory shift. Just what is that?
Well, we have found that there are quite a lot of people who want to do something in the war effort, but because of other commitments or responsibilities, they just can't possibly devote 6 days a week to it. The victory shift was designed to enable them to work only half a week, or 3 days. It is arranged on a basis of 2 people, each working 1/2 of the week. They do the same job, and one takes up where the other leaves off. In this way, we get a continuity of work, which is very important.
I suppose this is really my own problem and no concern of yours, but it is something I would have to work out. That is transportation. I live in town, quite a distance from the plant, and don't know how I get to and from work.
On the contrary, Mrs. Scott, we do make it our business to help our employees with problems just like that. Special bus schedules have been arranged to accommodate the various shifts, and many of our employees take part in a share the ride plan which the company has worked out. There are people all over this area who travel to work in their own private cars, and they are more than willing to share their automobiles with other Bell workers. Special facilities have been set up to take care of that plan and other things such as housing, gas rationing, and tires. The company really has quite a lot of services it maintains for its employees. There are cafeterias where you can get hot meals at a minimum cost. There's the employee store where tools and uniforms and other necessities are sold at little above cost. There's also a personnel service designed to help the employees in every way possible. Whether it's about your job or your husband, they can be very helpful. Incidentally, working at Bell does not affect your husband's draft status in any way. For the children of war plant workers, there are child care centers throughout this area, maintained by the federal government and the Board of Education. Here, your children between the ages of 2 and 14 are cared for at little cost to you. Their day's activities are carefully planned, and they receive 2 nutritious meals of balanced diet, plus healthful between-meal snacks for growing appetites. And for your off days, we have a recreational program which takes in almost all sports. If you like to play golf or swim, you will find a lot of willing partners at Bell Aircraft. There's tennis, horseback riding, just about everything you want. In sports, as with everything else, women have come into their own. But whether it be men or women, and in whatever proportion, the important thing today is to turn out more Airacobras as quickly as possible. That can and will be done if more hands go to work. Your hands, Mrs. Scott, your neighbors, and your friends. You will find many of them at work doing these jobs which must be done if we are to win this war. Peacetime pursuits have been laid aside for the duration. Working as a fashion model in one of New York's big stores seems pretty far removed from this, but I guess today these tools are pretty fashionable gadgets too. You will find other housewives like yourself, Mrs. Scott, some younger, some older, some who have made other contributions as well to the war effort. There are a lot of people here who before did quite different things, but now they're building airplanes because we need them. The jobs are varied and they're pretty well spread out, but they finally all come together. These people, your friends, your neighbors, people like yourself, Mrs. Scott, are the fighting Americans who build these Axis smashers. And this is the finished airplane. When all the jobs have been done and the work is carefully inspected, Each airplane must be test flown before it is turned over to the Army. These are the men who fly it for the first time, the Bell test pilots. They're your neighbors, too. Their job, like every job in the factory, is an important one. It's a good airplane. It's fast and it has a lot of power. The kind of power we need to destroy our enemies. Your country needs more airplanes like this, and you women can help build them. Will you?